Welcome, everyone. I am so thrilled to have you here. This is for more joy, less stress this holiday season. So whether that's Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's or all the holidays in between, there is so much pressure tied to the holidays. And so that's why we're going to get ahead of it right now. We're going to talk about what really matters, get recentered in to what matters, and go from there. So for whatever you need for tonight or today or whenever you're listening to this, whether it's the replay or the live version, go ahead and grab a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, a cup of hot cocoa or tea, or whatever you need to really center in and just really be here, be present. You know, we've got a lot of really great things to go over tonight that I'm thrilled, excited to share with you because those of you who know me well already know that Christmas is my favorite time of the year. It is just 29 sweet days away. Probably close to less than that now when you're watching this. But it's coming swiftly, and it's important to spend that time in a meaningful way instead of stressed out about all the to-dos and things you have to do, places you have to be, what you have to bring, what you have to prepare, all of that. That doesn't matter. We're getting to the heart of things. So go ahead and grab whatever you need to get cozy, comfy, having kind of a hygge night. If you guys have heard me talk about hygge, that's all the art of coziness, and it's a Danish term. And it's all about just having a really cozy evening, getting meaningful, intentional about what matters most. So blankets, candles, cup of coffee, glass of wine, hot cocoa, whatever it is, get what you need to really center in and be able to set your intention for tonight. So what's your intention? Why did you choose to watch this? And why did you choose to sign up for this? And what makes it matter to you about the holiday season this year? Think about that for a minute. Why does this matter to you? And as you set that intention about what you want to learn from tonight, how you want to grow, what you want to be able to overcome during your holiday season, whether that's with friends or family or loved ones, that's what's really going to guide our conversation tonight. So, as we dive in, before we get into all the goodness, all the knowledge, all the tools, all the strategies, what I want to share with you is a little bit about who I am. So in order to do that, I am going to share my screen with you so you can see a little bit about who I am in real life. So I'm going to do that, and we're going to go through the content and some action steps along the way. So that is why it's really important that you set that intention, that you have something to write with, your favorite pen, your favorite notebook, whatever it is, because action equals results. So you have to take the action to get the results. Otherwise, you're just listening to me for no good reason, right? So action equals results. So what we work on through this, that is what's going to create the results that you want to see this holiday season most. So that, you know, it's all about what happens this year are next year's memories. And memories are so important to us. When we think about what happened last year or the year before, or when we have a loved one that's passed away and we think about all the memories we have with them, they're so important. And this year, this Thanksgiving, this Christmas, this New Year's, this is what's creating next year's memories. So it's important to think about what's happening here, and how you're showing up and who you want to be and the people you surround yourself with and the memories you guys co-create together. So with that, I am going to share my screen with you so that you can see that as we go through some of this tonight. Let's see here. Let's get you to it so you guys can see a little bit about how we're going to start tonight with how to make more time for the people and the activities that you love, right? So important. Absolutely so important. That's what the holiday season is all about. It's all about creating intentional time for the people and activities that you love most. So take a minute and think about, what do you love most about the holidays? Just think about it. Visualize it for a second. Maybe it's the Christmas music. Maybe it's cooking Thanksgiving dinner and watching the parade. Maybe it's a football game outside, or maybe it's a bonfire, or maybe it's picking Secret Santa. In my family, we always use secret friend as the term of who that person is that you have that year. Maybe it's Black Friday shopping. Maybe it's watching a Christmas movie as soon as Thanksgiving night is about to approach, because that brings the new year. Maybe it's cutting down a tree. Maybe it's playing a family game. Maybe it's whatever it is to you. That's what matters. Whatever the holiday season means to you and what you love about it is what matters tonight. So with that, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to share this screen with you. So, like I said, grab a cup of coffee, glass of wine, cup of hot cocoa or tea, cozy up with your favorite candles or blankets or slipper socks. I love those. Anything that makes you feel good. And then grab a pen and paper, because we're going to take action during this time. And the reason for that is that action equals results. Okay, so as we dive in, I'm going to share just a brief bit about who I am. So I am a corporate woman turned professional life coach and speaker. So I trained to be a life coach with CTI and Robbins Research International, which is owned by Tony Robbins, and then I also did some coaching training with Gabby Bernstein. But besides all of the credentials of that and working with my own life coach, before I even started going through all the coaching training and then all the many clients I've had around the world, is I'm a Minnesotan. So for those of you that are from the US, I was born and raised in Minnesota. I love Minnesota. A lot of my family is still here for the most part. I've got a big family who I adore. I have 6 awesome, amazing older brothers. And a little bit about me, I love a good cup of coffee and always exploring a new restaurant. So Mexican food is some of my favorite food, but I love trying anything new and different and learning the story and the history behind the food. And then, as you could probably imagine, I love Christmas, adore Christmas, favorite time of the year. And that is why this is so important to me, is because I love people and I love helping people, all my coaching clients. And when I go and speak at companies, I love helping them and all their employees. And I love you. I love people being able to experience the most out of life. And that is what all this is about. With Christmas 29 days away, Thanksgiving this week, it's about getting really intentional about what matters most. So here's just a very brief, quick version of the everyday me that's just like you. So this is at the top corner is my sweet Mama Velky and me. And that is when I took her to her first vision board workshop. And we created our first vision boards together, which ironically, you see Oprah on mine. And my mother and I are going to see Oprah for the first time in January. So that's really special that I get to experience that with her. And that was also on my vision board. Then below that is my sweet puppy dog Boots. He is a miniature dachshund, my rescue dog. He's 5 years old this year. This holiday season, I got him right before Christmas when I first adopted him. Pet Finder will do that to you. I never imagined getting a dachshund or a dog right away. And then you go on Pet Finder and find all those little ones that don't have homes, or the big ones, the older ones, and you want to give them a home. So if you don't want a pet, don't go on Pet Finder, because that will make you want one. And then I've got a cup of coffee, one of my favorite cups of coffee, and hashtag love, because one of my core desired feelings, as Daniela Laporte talks about it in the desire map, is the love. So I operate off of core desired feelings. Many of my clients do as well. And love is one of mine. And I have this beautiful coffee mug to remind me of that, with my peppermint coffee in the mornings now that it's winter fall season. And then those are my amazing 6 brothers. So yes, every one of those men are my brothers. That is a picture from us a long time ago. I'm not gonna lie, that is a while ago. However, they are just as awesome as ever. I'm the youngest of 7 children in that family, and we are all really close in age, and I consider them my 6 best friends. And then right next to that are some of my very best friends, some of my girlfriends from college and after, and they are incredible. I've got a lot of really great friends in my life, so this is just a small picture of some of them, but friends are so important, especially the ones that you feel like you can just genuinely share your world with. And right above that is my mother and father, and oh, they are just the 2 most incredible human beings that raised 7 kids. That's all I have to say about them. Amazing that they raised 7 kids and that we're all best friends, and they did an incredible job, and I love them. So I just had to share them and give them a little credit, them with some of their grandkids. And then up top is me with some of my other nephews. So I have got I've got 12 nieces and nephews now. 13 is on the way in January. 14 is on the way in, I want to say, April, May. So we've got a lot of little babies and big babies in the family. My oldest nephew is 16. Yes, he's 16. And my youngest one isn't even a year old yet, and then there's 2 more on the way. So a lot of beautiful versions of what life is and how life matters. And I know you guys have pictures just like these that totally relate to whether you have a pet or family or whatever your values are in life. I know you can relate to exactly what I shared for you here. So our agenda tonight, we're going to go through the 5-step process to a blissful holiday season. We're going to talk a lot about your emotions and how those can control you and how you have control over those. And then we are also going to close with a little surprise at the end for you. So this 5-step process, this is where it all begins. But before I even go there, I'm going to back this up a second. Think about for a minute how time is priceless. Think about what that means to you in your life. How time is priceless. Time is priceless in the way that you could never get more time. You can't buy time. You cannot earn time. So there's no good news or bad news with that, except for, I guess, the fact that the bad news is that time flies. But at the same time, the good news around time is that you're the pilot. You get to direct that time. So you get to decide how you spend each minute of your time. Let's think about that for a minute. How did you spend your 1,440 minutes yesterday? How did you spend that? Think about it for a minute. 1,440 minutes yesterday. You get to decide how you spend each minute of your day. And you get to decide who you spend that with. So who did you choose to spend that time with today? And who did you decide to spend that time with yesterday? You get to decide what type of work you do during this time. It can either be work that fulfills you or work that drains you, but the choice is always yours. But time will not slow down and will not wait for you to make that choice. So you always have that power of choice, and yet you always know that time is moving. And you get to decide how you direct that choice based off of that time. The average person lives 78 years. Average. I know you know people have lived longer than that, and I know you know people who have lived shorter than that. So if you were to subtract all the time spent sleeping, eating, and other everyday tasks, what's really left? That's your time. How do you want to feel during that time? And what do you want to do with that time? What do you want to do with that time during the holiday season? And how do you want to feel during that holiday season? Set your intention right now. What do you want that to be like? And when you set your intention, it's important to think about, go ahead and write that down when you set that intention about what you want that to feel like, what you want that to be like, and what you want to learn from our session is important. And when you think about emotions are the fuel of life. So we all have positive emotions that serve us, absolutely. And we all have negative emotions that sabotage us. And the quality of our experiences in life depend on the quality of our emotions, because our emotions dictate our experiences. Everything we see, think, feel, evaluate, and experience is filtered through the emotions we experience at any given moment. Let me repeat that. The emotions and everything we see, think, feel, evaluate, and experience is filtered through the emotions that we're aware of and experience at any given moment. You have control over that. So when you think about what drives our emotions, well, according to the 6 human needs of psychology, we all have 6 emotions that really drive us. So it could be the need, or 6 emotions, I should clarify, 6 needs that really drive our emotions. So the 6 needs of psychology, which are the need for certainty. I know you've felt that before, that need to feel certain about something. And ironically, the need for uncertainty and variety, the need for significance, to feel like you matter, the need for love and connection, to feel that with others and yourself, the need for growth, learning and what that feels like, and then the need for contribution and giving back and making a difference. Those are 6 human needs that we all experience to some extent. However, there are 2 of those that certainly drive the majority of your decisions that you make in your life based off of what needs are most important to you. So first we need to understand what drives our emotions, which are the 6 human needs. And then it's all about what drives any emotions that we have is the meaning that we give to them. And this is shaped through our own psychology and our worldview and beliefs and values that we've chosen to take on is what drives the meaning that we give to these emotions and these human needs. And what I want you to remember through all of this as we go through this tonight is the only meaning anything has is the meaning that we choose to give it. So let's say, for instance, just an example of this is that 2 people may experience the exact same event at work, and one might say, this is the worst thing ever. My life has no purpose. And someone completely different, and on the other hand, might take that same experience around feedback or whatever it is that they felt the worst about, and that's the worst ever. The other person might have a perspective that, yeah, this is challenging me to grow and is the greatest gift I've ever received. The perceptual difference not only affects the quality of each person's life, but it also affects the action they will take next. So someone could view feedback as the worst ever. I'm never going to get where I want to be in my career. This sucks, yada, yada. The next person could be like, this is challenging. It's hard. However, it's a great gift that someone was willing to share that with me so I can see my blind spots and see where I have the opportunity to grow and take action based off of that. So that's an example of that. So as we get into tonight, keep those emotions and those needs in mind, because once you establish a meaning, you have a pattern of certain ways that you decide to take action based off of that meaning. So everything you do in life, you give a meaning to. And when you give it that meaning, then you have a habit of patterns that you take based off of the meaning you give it. And sometimes we have to reevaluate what that pattern is, what that meaning is that we give it, and how we give it that meaning. All right? So let's go ahead and go through some of this. 5-step process. Let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. You can probably sing that all day long from Frozen, even though that was many years ago. When you think about letting it go, it's all about you can't do all the things all the time and be everywhere for everyone, but that doesn't mean you're less than. Let me repeat that. You can't be all the things all the time and be everywhere for everyone, but that does not mean you're less than. Ingrain that. When was the last time you felt guilty about something? Think about that for a minute. Maybe it was last night. Maybe you didn't even have time to cook and eat dinner with your family because you spent more time at work just trying to finish a project. Maybe you didn't go to that community event or whatever it was that you said you would attend to because you knew you were behind on getting things done around your home. Or maybe you were watching TV instead of taking the time to call or email a good friend, and you had been watching TV instead of taking that time to really email that good friend and that you've been meaning to for a while now. Or maybe you found yourself having to choose between your boyfriend or husband or whoever your partner is and a night with your old friends. No matter what choice you make, chances are pretty high that you have felt some sort of guilt in those situations. Am I right? Please tell me I'm not the only one that's felt that way. Think about the times that you have felt guilty about all the shoulds. And then we're going to talk about how we can't let the shoulds get to us. You don't have to do all the things right now, all at the same time. It's about being perfectly imperfect. And instead of telling yourself you can't enjoy the moment because you didn't do this, that, or the other thing, stop, hold on. You can't cross all your T's and dot all your I's all at the same time. Remember that. You don't have a million different hands to do that. Let your presence win and be fully in the moment. If you do that, if you let your presence win and be fully in the moment, you'll have the best holiday season. You will experience things like you never have before at Thanksgiving, at Christmas, at New Year's, at all the Christmas parties in between. I guarantee it. But you have to be intentional, and you have to be aware, and you have to be fully present. So the next time you feel guilt about what you feel like you should do, stop, Write it down. Write down what you feel guilty about not doing. And then burn or shred those limiting beliefs you wrote down and say it out loud. Just say out loud as you burn it. I am enough. I believe I am enough. I am enough as I am. Burn that. I've done that before. It feels liberating on so many ways. So when you think about that, the action here is, what are 2 things that you are intentionally choosing not to do and not feel guilty about not doing this holiday season? Write that down, because like I said at the beginning, action is what equals results. So write that down. Okay, so action equals results. What are the things you are intentionally choosing not to do and to not feel guilty about? Then we're moving on to step 2. Be intentional and create a plan that feels good. Right? Am I right? Well, I feel like I'm right, but I know everyone feels differently. But we're going to go through this and why this matters. Because if I'm honest, I'm not right about so many things, but these are things that I've put into place that are tried and true and tested time and time again, and that the clients I have tried over and over, and they are blown away by the results. And so be intentional and create a plan that feels good. So what does that look like? What does it look like to create that plan that feels good? Well, it's all about finding a time management tool that works for you. So whether that is electronically, whether it's your Google Calendar or something else, or it's having a paper planner. My favorite planner is Danielle Laporte and the Desire Map. I love that. Absolutely love it. I also love my Russell Hazel planner. So that's another good one. So think about what works for you, what works for the people in your life. Do you need to include options online that really connects everyone? If it's planning holiday dinners, you have to have an online version, a shared version that everyone can be on with Google Docs or Google Sheets and share about who's bringing what time are people arriving, where is everyone going to be at what time. Sometimes that really helps. Sometimes it's too much, but based off of your family, you get to decide, does that help? And then make it fun, and make it fun to plan that time and really review it each morning and every evening. And you're probably thinking, Mandy, you're crazy. Who reviews this every morning and every evening? Here's the thing. You got to be really intentional. If you aren't intentional, things are going to slip by you. And no matter how much you make that list and check it twice and make that specific Christmas calendar even, it won't matter if you don't review it. It won't matter if you don't visit it every single day. It won't matter if you won't communicate it with other people that are important in your life. So make that Christmas calendar, make those to-dos of what are important to you, and really prioritize those things. So maybe there are, let's just say, if you're me, 15 different things that you love about the holiday season that you want to see happen. And then you think about your schedule and your time and what is the reality of what could happen. And you schedule it in. Totally fair. And then you have to communicate that with the people that you want to be there. And you have to communicate it in enough time in advance. And you have to be flexible when those times don't quite work out. And it's about scheduling Free time on your calendar. Who's ever done that? Scheduled free time on your calendar. It's about free time for the holiday moments. So if it's scheduling 2 hours on a Wednesday night during December to watch a holiday movie or whatever it is, you just schedule 2 hours. You know, from 7 to 9 is going to be a holiday moment. You don't know what it is yet, but you're reserving that time. And then when that time comes, you and your partner, you and your friends, you and your family, whoever it is, you decide what that looks like. It could be just you watching a movie. It could be just you filling out Christmas cards. It could be just you sipping on a glass of Bailey's and writing about what you're grateful for. Or it could be you and your partner having your first Christmas together. Or it could be you and your partner spending your first Christmas activity with someone you love. Or it could be you and your family reminiscing about times past. But it's scheduling that time, those free moments that maybe you just go around and look at Christmas lights, whatever it is. But scheduling those free moments that you get to decide in that moment. So it gives you the need for variety that we talked about before, and yet it gives you that need for certainty at that same time, because you know you're certain at this time I'm going to do something holiday related. And yet at this time you don't know what that is until whatever you decide and whatever you feel like. So it fulfills both of those 6 human needs, 2 of the 6 human needs during that. So here is the part about the be intentional and create a plan. Categorize your list of events and to-dos into need tos versus want tos. That's the first thing. And then select a date of your top 3 activities tonight, today, whatever you really want to do, and follow up with them after this webinar to confirm. So that's your second action step of tonight, is categorize your list of events that are to-dos that you need to and you want to, and what are the top 3, and then follow up with them tonight, today, tomorrow, whenever you watch this. All right? And then be intentional and create a plan that feels good. Oh my goodness, I am all about what feels good. Find a time management tool that works for you. We talked about this. We totally talked about this. And yet, one thing I didn't mention about this is Trello. Trello, Google Home, and Google Calendar. And those are probably the 3 main ones, but Google Homes are amazing for this. Alexa, if you have that, that's amazing too. I don't. I have my Google Home, which keeps me on track with everything, and it connects to my Google Calendar, which is great with reminders, time appointments, everything. So find your management system that works for you. From time management to planning meals, to planning appointments, to reminders, to finances, everything in between. So then there's communicate and manage expectations. That is the next step of this. When you get to this point, when was the last time you were let down because your expectations were too high? Think about that for a minute. When was the last time you were let down because your expectations were too high? Did you communicate those expectations? Did you share with someone what those were? If you didn't, how are they ever going to know? No one's a mind reader, right? Communicate your expectations. That's what eliminates frustration, hurt, and arguments. That's what mitigates the times that you feel like you're you are let down, or you're letting someone else down time and time again. When you really think about it, when you want to control and master your emotions, no matter what circumstance you're in, communication and managing expectations are a huge key to it. It's also about identifying the signal. So, identifying what the trigger is. Oh, your signal and your trigger is whatever negative emotion comes up for you. So, for example, let's say something happened between you and your sister, and you and your father-in-law, and your father-in-law were your home. Oh my word. Let me just restate that. Let's just say that something happened between you and your sister, and you and your father-in-law were home, and that wasn't necessarily the place where you wanted to host the family holiday get-together this year. And based off of what he said, that's not where you wanted to host it. And as a result, you feel rejected because you had shared something along the lines of how you wanted to have that holiday get together with your family. And you talked about it with your sister, and then your father-in-law was home, and that wasn't what he chose. And that's not what he wanted for the location to host that holiday get together. And because of that, you really feel rejected about what you came up with. So let's think about that from another perspective too. So if you were to change your state, so you identified that signal, you identified that that's a trigger because it created a negative emotion in you when what you wanted wasn't happening. And then if you were to change your state and clarify what you want, and you start to, well, in some instances, you may start to hallucinate and really make up things when you aren't in a resourceful state, and when you aren't comfortable many times, you aren't in a resourceful state. So in that state where you feel like you're being forced to do something for someone that you don't feel comfortable with, whether it's just celebrating the holiday, whatever holiday it is, and then if you don't feel good about that, then you aren't going to be resourceful. And in that resourceful state, you won't feel like you can do it in many ways. And what I mean by state is it's really patterns of your physiology, what you focus on, because what you focus on, you feel, and the language you use, the words and the meanings that you give to things. And the reason we focus on the psychology is because success is 80% psychology and only 20% mechanics. So it's only 20% of what you do. And both are positive and negative states. There are both out there. And it's important that you know which one you're feeling. So that trigger of being uncomfortable with the rejection that I had mentioned earlier is a signal that you have to change your state and clarify what you want. You have to change your state and clarify what you want. Because whenever you have what you used to call a negative emotion, so anytime, any circumstance, when you feel a negative emotion, you are now going to call this an action signal. That is now triggering you to tell you that there is an action that needs to be taken. Anytime there's a negative emotion, anger, frustration, annoyance, whatever it is, hate, whatever it is, that's an action signal. And it identifies and names that emotion. And then it gives you the ability to appreciate the emotion, because that emotion is bringing us a message. And it's being aware that that emotion is bringing us a message. So it's not about being hateful or angry or whatever it is. It's about, okay, this is coming up for me. This is how I'm feeling. It's bringing me a message, and this is how I'm going to deal with it. It's being aware. It is being fully aware of what's going on and being able to immediately take action towards that desire and what it is that you want, and being able to communicate that desire and do something that expresses it will make all the difference. So that's all about communicating and managing those expectations. So the action here is, what is one area of your life or one thing that you know you need to communicate right now, even early, to eliminate misunderstandings or hurt feelings this holiday season? Go ahead and write that down right now. So write down, what do you feel like you need to communicate this holiday season? And who do you feel like you need to communicate that with? Who is that person? What is that scenario? And what do you want to communicate to them? Then the next step is to live fully and to live the compassionate no. This is all about setting boundaries. I am going to be very upfront with this. Boundaries are so important. So important. I cannot tell you enough how important they are. Because when you set boundaries, that gives someone the ability to understand where you're coming from. It gives someone the ability to respect you when you set that boundary. Otherwise, many times you'll get walked all over. And it's important to identify when and how to use the compassionate no, what that looks like, embracing FOMO mentality in your own life, filling up your own cup so that it's overflowing, and asking yourself 3 questions each day, which I'm going to get to. So set boundaries. It's about all the people that ask you all the time to do certain things. That's not what matters. What matters is you being able to say to them, you know what? That's a great idea. Let me think about it and get back to you. You don't have to give a yes or a no. That's the biggest thing I want you to take away from this. You do not have to give a yes or no. It's about, let me think about it and get back to you. That is a very real, very honest, very genuine response. And you don't have to feel pressure to do otherwise. The other piece with that is identifying when and how to use the compassionate no. So what are the things that don't juice you? What are the things that you don't care about? What are the things that you honestly just feel pressured to do? That's when you use the compassionate no. Because if you don't, you're going to feel resentment towards that person, towards that activity, towards that thing, whatever it is. And that might not even be something that you feel like you should have resentment towards. But that's what's showing up in the moment because you are saying yes to too many things. And then you say yes to another thing and you feel resentment halfway through because you're like, I don't have time for this. I can't do this. What am I doing? And that's what causes that. So have the courage to use the compassionate no. And when you think about embracing the FOMO mentality, so, okay, let's clarify. FOMO, fear of missing out. That's what people think of with FOMO. And I want to challenge you to think about the fear of missing out. Many times people think of fear of missing out on this event or this thing or that thing. And I want to challenge you to think about the fear of missing out on your own life. Because you're saying yes to everyone else besides you. What does that look like for you? If you had the fear of missing out on your own life and had the courage to say yes to you and had the courage to say that compassionate no to others. And if you have that courage to say the compassionate yes to you and to fill yourself up and to have the fear and cultivate that fear of missing out on your own life, how would that be different? How would that change how you communicate with others? How would that change what you choose to do? How would that change how you plan your time? How would that change who you spend time with? Embrace the fear of missing out on you. Because so many times it's easy to want to fulfill that for others. And you have to think about how you're missing out on your own life to fulfill that for others. And what that means if you're missing out on you and what you want to do for you instead. God created us in this way to understand ourselves and to be able to articulate what matters most to us. And it's important for us to really understand that and to live in accordance with that. Yeah, who did He create us to be? And to live in accordance to that and not to people please the people around us, but to really live for what we believe in. And then fill your cup up so full that it's overflowing. That's really important. You've all heard the message around how, when you get on a plane, they say, put on your own mask first and then help the people around you, right? You've all heard that when you've flown on a plane. And that's the same concept. It's about how do you fill yourself up and then care about others. If you don't fill yourself up, you can't fully care about others, and you can't fully care about others in a genuine way. So it's important that you fill your cup up and you take care of yourself and you believe in yourself and that you know what you need and you strive to understand what you need. Because only in that space where you fully understand and fully love who you are, that's the only space that you can fully show up for others and love them and care for them and give them that space where everything that overflows from you flows into them in a beautiful way. So the action here is, what is one promise you're going to make to yourself this holiday season to get off the autopilot and to get to that point of taking one step further away from overcoming what those obstacles are? So how do you get yourself to a season of true rest, getting off autopilot, and stepping into that space where you can fully be yourself? What does that look like? Take a minute to think about that. Okay, and the last one we're going to go through today is the 5-star moments. 5-star moments. This is one of my favorite tools and strategies that you'll learn from this session tonight. So what's a 5-star moment? Have you ever gone to a restaurant that you absolutely loved? Like whether it was the service was top notch or the food was delectable. Like it was just beautifully displayed. It tasted amazing. You're like, how does someone create that in their kitchen? You can't even imagine. And maybe it wasn't even a type of food that you really liked or you had never heard of it. And then all of a sudden you're even more blown away by it. Or maybe it's you're waiting for a table and they bring out pizza fries as you're waiting for your table and they give you a glass of wine and you're like, this is the best waiting experience I've ever had. Those are your 5-star moments. Those are the moments that you want to create in life. Those are the moments that you want to report, right? Those are the moments that you want to share and review and give to others. So how do you intentionally create more of those moments in your life? And that's what 5-star moments are about. So when you think about it, how do you create them? How do you get connected to what you love most, what matters most to you, what your habits are, and how that impacts you, and then creating them and celebrating the little things in life. You know, our time is too precious and too short not to. I started this session talking about how we have 1,444, I think it was. Now I'm gonna even blank on the exact number. 1,444 of yesterday, of minutes yesterday. That's what I was going for. And what did we do with them? How do you want to intentionally create those minutes and celebrate the little things? And what I mean by the little things is, okay, I was able to have 2-handed coffee this morning while I wrote in my planner. That's something I'm celebrating. Or my child slept in longer than anticipated and I got some me time this morning. I'm going to celebrate that. Or everyone in my family woke up early this morning and we got to spend some time on the couch snuggling and cuddling together. Or maybe it's I woke up with my puppy dog and he wanted to cuddle in bed. Or maybe it's we've got a warm home, we've got each other, and we love spending time with each other. And we don't have anywhere to go tomorrow, and we just get to be and to be present. And we don't have too many to-dos where we're stressed out. And that is absolutely something we're celebrating, where you're just grateful to be around each other. That's important. So think about, what is something you consider a 5-star moment that you want to do at least once this holiday season? So that's a very easy question. So what is something that you consider a 5-star moment that you want to do at least once this holiday season? And then here's my bonus that I think about is the Celine Dion Christmas song. Don't save it all for Christmas Day. Who's heard it? Give me a hell yeah if you've heard it. Because Don't Save It All for Christmas Day is one of the best Christmas songs I have ever heard. I know it's not a traditional Christmas song, but this song brings me to tears every single season, because it's all about how life isn't guaranteed. It's all about making the most of the moments you have today, because today's moments are next year's memories. It's all about realizing what matters most, as being joyful, being kind, choosing to love each other more, because that matters. When you think about not saving it all for Christmas Day, or not saving it all for the holiday season, what is a way you could be more joyful starting this week? Write that down. What is a way that you could be more kind starting this week? Write that down. And what is a way that you could choose to love people more this week? Go ahead and write that down. That's important. Okay, so to recap, the 5 steps are: let it go, be intentional, and create a plan that feels good. Have that organization tool that feels good to you. Communicate and manage expectations. That goes along with knowing what triggers you with your 6 human needs of psychology and what's triggering your decisions there and the meaning that you give to things. It's about living full and using the compassionate no, having those boundaries, and creating those 5-star moments and celebrating life, being grateful for life. That makes a huge difference. So that's what we went over very quickly tonight. And I apologize, it was so fast, but that is a beautiful way of understanding how you can make the most of this holiday season with the people that truly matter most to you, because that's the important thing. That's why we're here, is because people matter more than things. So here is a recap of all your action steps. So the first one is, what are 2 things you're intentionally choosing not to do and not feel guilty about doing this during this holiday season? Number 2 is categorize your list of events and to-dos into need tos versus want tos. And then you select a date for your top 3 activities tonight and really follow up with them after this webinar to confirm. Number 3 is, what is one area of your life or one thing that you want to know that you know you need to communicate right now in order to eliminate misunderstandings or hurt feelings this holiday season? What do you want to communicate there? And then when you think about the 4th one, it's, what is one promise you're going to make to yourself this season to get true rest, to get off autopilot, and take one step further away from overcommitting where you're over stressed out and all of that does not serve you. And then the last one is, what is something you consider a 5-star moment that you want to do at least once during this holiday season? So like I said, it could be wrapping presents with your loved one. It could be decorating Christmas tree. It could be having some mulled wine. Well, you just share what your favorite Christmas traditions are. Could be decorating Christmas cookies, or sharing what your family used to do for the holidays. Everyone has their own thing, their own special moment. Think about what it is for you and what you want to share about that with that person that you love or those people that you love. It could be your dog. It could be your best friend. It could be your family. It could be your partner. Whoever that is, that's what matters to you. So here is what my exciting gift is to you. I cannot wait to share this with you. So I decided that for the holiday season, for my Christmas gift to you, I know it's early because we're only 29 days away from Christmas and even less for like 4 days away from Thanksgiving. But I'm grateful for you being in my coaching family. And what I want to share with you is a free 30-minute Ignite coaching session. So the way that you can do this is you just send an email to hello@amandabelke.com and with the subject line, intentional holidays, within the next 48 hours. So you got to do it within the next 48 hours. And I'll give you a free complimentary 30-minute coaching session about the holidays, about whatever matters most to you. You guys, you get to choose because I care what matters most to you. And I want to be here for you. And I love you. And I care about what matters most to you. So all you have to do, if this is what you genuinely want, like so many of my paying clients pay a good amount of money for an investment for, is you just have to send an email with the subject line intentional holidays and you're golden with a lot of great work that's going to be put towards your holiday season to make this year's holiday reflect what matters most to you. So that is what I have for you. And I just have some more information about how you can contact me if you realize that coaching is something that is important to you, something that you want to explore, something that you want to understand better. Contact me. We'll do a one-on-one to help you understand what that looks like and answer any questions you have. And I'm happy to do that. You guys, I love life coaching. I would not be in this industry if I didn't. It has my heart. My coach is the best coaches. I have multiples. And it's transformed my life. And I've been able to transform other lives through this. And it is the most beautiful thing that I have been able to be a part of. And I'm so grateful that God has led me to this. So, man, I'm going to cry a little bit, if I'm honest. But know that if you're in that space where you want to grow, you want to learn, you want to understand, this is for you. This is absolutely for you. And I hope you have a beautiful night. And I hope you take all the action steps tonight and really understand what that means for you. And